Welcome to the Tearing It Up podcast. I'm your host, Taryn. We'll be tearing it up, tearing it down, and tearing it apart, dissecting all things related to those who deviate from the standard. From leaders of their industry to leaders of mediocrity, and maybe a gear review or two thrown in. We shoot the shit and let the conversations flow, so if that's not your style, this may not be for you. Otherwise, listen in. Hope to light a fire in you somehow. All right. Okay, so we were on such a good roll of going pretty much weekly. Maybe there was a time we went like bi-weekly, and then January hit and I was thinking, after the holidays, like, yeah, easy peasy lemon squeezy if we made it this far, like through the holidays, and we'll definitely, January is going to be no problem. And then I'm like, January's been just fucking jamming, jam packed. It's been so hard to coordinate schedules and figure it all out. But here we are. We're finally here. And so as I was saying to you before we recorded, that I listened to our last episode on my way to work and on my way home from work, so I could even remember, like, what the hell did we talk about last time, and if there's any cliffhangers. Yes. Which I knew there was going to be a couple, because, well, I knew I talked about my snowmobiling course that I went to this weekend, and yeah, it was this past weekend, a couple days ago, so I was super stoked to just talk about that and Phil and what happened, and because, yeah, I was super just excited about it and mentioning it on the podcast. And I also mentioned that we did we were going to do a staff ski day. And we did that, and that was really awesome. So we went to Palisades Tahoe, and me and my friend Jackie got there earlier because our boss was so kind as to buy us day passes, since we were like one of the only ones who didn't have season passes. So we got there a bit early, and we lucked out because it actually did snow again because between our last recording episode and the day of the team ski day, there wasn't too much showing in the forecast yet, but we got a good amount of snow before then. So the day before was snowing, and it snowed and rained a little bit the day of, but it turned out to be way better conditions than I thought it would be.
Heck yeah.
So it was just so fun. My legs are wrecked. I thought I was only going to be able to last a couple of runs really with the conditions, because it was pretty wet, heavy snow. Yeah. And we ended up riding from like 10 to 3:30. We did take a beer break, but I couldn't, I had to stop several times on my last run because my legs were fucking dead. Like, so dead. Like, they were just like crampy feeling, like so tense. I'm like, I cannot control what happens on this snowboard anymore unless I stop. And we went down this zone that you have to hike a little bit to get to. And it was, by that time it had started raining, and the snow was just like really wet, kind of heavy, sticky, little weird. But my legs are so tired, I just kept like straight up digging the nose of my snowboard into the snow and like going over the bars. Like, I was just like giving up. Like, I am wrecked, but it was so fun. And one of the main lifts that I love, I was worried that it would be pretty packed, and it can have a pretty long line a lot of times, but it didn't. There was not a lot of people there, and I was like, oh man, kind of regretting almost not having a pass. Yeah. And then I had to remind myself, like, these days are very rare, right? Like, this is few and far between now to come, where there's still some good conditions left. You're not waiting in line for 20-30 minutes or longer. It's a rare day, but it was good. And I did end up leaving, like, not in regret of having a pass, not like I want to do this again tomorrow. It's like, yeah, I want to come ride again, but I wasn't jonesing too hard, and it ended on a great note, and it was just so much fun. But I do want to like just do it with my friends again. I mean, doing it with the crew was great, especially like my friend Jackie and stuff, but I was like thinking about riding with you or whoever. I'm like, oh, I want to go to Crystal and ride.
Last time we did that, it was like 2019 maybe. No, you guys were up here before that.
Yeah, because we stuff happened where you and I had like a run or two together, and then you found like Casey,
Yes.
And there is just, I hear a little bit of static. It's annoying me, but we ended up only getting like a couple runs in because yeah, we split off and then like couldn't find each other again or something. But
We
that
ended
was
up
the
at the rafters though.
yes, yep. It was good. So I don't know. I don't know if it will happen this winter. I don't have a trip like planned up there at all. I hadn't even thought about it. I'm like, gosh, I need to. I thought I would, but uh it's just a little bit hard to get up there these days.
Yeah,
Especially when
dude.
we're actually having like a good winter. Like I don't want to leave.
You guys are getting hammered.
Yeah.
Freaking
Um we've this has been like the longest we have not had snow, I feel like. It snowed last Tuesday or something. So it's been like a week now or over a week a little bit where it hasn't snowed. Um because yeah, we were just getting storm after storm and hopefully that continues again, but it's been nice to have a little bit of sun, a little break from all the snow removal, but I'm ready for just it to refresh and refill because as soon as it starts to melt away a little bit, or you can see it like settling and like the berms go down a little. I'm like, oh my God, it's melting. It's over. Like, come back.
yeah.
um but and then so yeah, that was like on the 11th. So then a couple weeks later, my course is this past weekend, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. And I had mentioned in our previous episode that Andrew still hadn't gotten his new snowmobile. So I was like nervous and waiting on that and wasn't sure what would happen because if the conditions were good, it'd be really hard to be able to use the one we have because he'd want to go out and whatnot. His snowmobile never came, but he did let me take his truck and his snowmobile down, and I had it for the full 3 days because like I said, we were down in South Lake Tahoe, so we got a little hotel and stayed down there all 3 days. And so that was really really nice and generous and loving and trusting, mostly trusting of him to do because like I said, I hadn't gotten out, so I went out like 2 times the week before, like, well, days before, because it was on a Friday, was the first full day of the course. So we just doubled down from the house on the snowmobile to our little meadow here. And so I could just ride it a little bit around and, get my feel for it. Cause like I said, I just didn't want my first day on the snowmobile to be like at the course. I wanted to feel somewhat comfortable, get any kind of like shakes out or whatever. So got a little bit of riding, felt pretty good, but then I also had only loaded the snowmobile on his other truck like twice, maybe once for sure. I think twice, but I hadn't unloaded it. So last week we practiced that too because it's unnerving. I mean, for people who don't know, you could like look it up, but or like you see my pictures and you can kind of tell the setup. There's uh a ramp. Like first of all, the sled deck is on the truck, so it's like a flat platform, and
On
then you
top of the truck bed.
on top of the bed. Yep. And then it has a ramp that attaches to that. And so depending on what you like the ground you're on can determine like the steepness of the ramp. So it just like on a less steep slope, you can crawl up a little bit more. On a steeper incline, you got to give it a little, you just have to have throttle control is key. And that's something that worries me. Because I'm such a like 0 to 60 type. Like I always say my thumb just kind of goes on or off. It's like doesn't find the middle. Um, and so we practiced loading and unloading. I didn't have any crazy accidents. It definitely took a little bit, mostly for nerves. Like, okay, none of this is mine. And these are all very extensive things that if one little thing goes wrong,
I don't know how
and
to fix it.
yeah, and then but like I felt comfortable enough, like okay, I just have to do it, right? And then when we went to the place where we're meeting for the course, it's in a parking lot that's like there's pavement showing, and I was like, oh my God, like I've only practiced on like on snow. Is this going to be different? Do I have to change things? I almost got like a little worried, and there's like icy spots, and I was like, oh no. um but everything went off without a hitch as far as the loading and unloading.
Good job.
Yes.
I
Um,
noticed when I went to a snow park that there's a lot of rocks that fly when you are on a snowmobile on like an exposed gravel rock pavement situation.
yeah.
That's
Yep.
something that you have to be like careful about because you could destroy somebody's car, window,
Yeah.
hit somebody in the face. Like there's a lot happening at a snow park parking lot.
Yes. Yeah. And this one was huge. Lots of people around, which also caused Friday wasn't as bad. Saturday and Sunday, there's a lot more people around, but that causes just like a lot more nerves of like, oh man. And especially, so my course is all women's course. So there's 12 women around just in this course and maybe other women around. But oh my God, there were so many moments in that parking lot where there was just guys like staring, like, what's going on? Like, why is there so many women out here? Like, this one dude, like Saturday or Sunday night loading up, he just kept stopping and staring and like doing head like back and forth, back and forth. Like, I was just watching him back. Like, do,
Yeah.
do you have a question? Like, we're all spread out now, but you seem really, really concerned that there's like too many women around here with snowmobiles. Like,
Yeah.
it was kind of pissing me off. But so anyway, Friday morning, get there, start the sleds, they warm up, unload the snowmobile. Um, and then our group's like gathering in the parking lot, turn the snowmobile back on, put it in reverse a little bit. I noticed like it has a screen on it. Almost like a screen in a newer car, like full color navigation screen on it. And I put it in reverse and I noticed like the screen looked black. And I was like, huh. For a minute didn't think like much about it because I reverted to like my truck when I turn it in, like put it in reverse, the backup camera comes on, so the screen changes. I'm like, wait, there's no backup camera here. Like,
Yeah.
the screen shouldn't go away just because it's in reverse. So put it back like and forward, start going, like the screen's not on. I'm like, okay, that's really weird. Like, what's going on? Like, is there weird glare? My goggles are on, something's up. But all I'm doing is moving it like 50 feet. So not that concerned. We have a little chat and then we decide we're going to go up onto the snow, try and start the snowmobile. Does not start. Um, and I'm just like, I have no fucking clue what's going on. I'm not versed in these machines, like electrically, mechanically, any kind of way, like barely any way at all in the first place of riding it. So luckily, so one of the ladies teaching the course is a Polaris ambassador and she tinkers around with her sled a bunch. And so she comes over, looks at it, trying to figure stuff out. That I tell her like what I noticed and basically just that the screen's not coming on. So we unplug the screen and are like plugging it back in. We start to see there's some moisture in that like wiring harness. And she thinks like that could be the issue. And we're like, okay, maybe we like leave the panels off, the hood off, and let it get some sun. We'll continue talking, and we've got some people on the way who might be able to help.
Okay.
And then one of the girls who happens to be kind of a neighbor, she lives on the other side. I mean, like as the crow flies, like just
Yes,
straight
that's
across, but
okay.
she has a few miles. She's like on the other side of the road as us, like the main road. But Andrew knows her husband. And he told me, he's like, Matt and Emily are gonna be there. So like if if you have any issues, like Matt can help you out, whether that's like loading or unloading or whatever the case may be. Emily's like, and Matt's an electrician. He has his own
Sick.
like company and is a snowmobile or whatnot. So she's like, like, do you want me to call Matt? Maybe I can have him come look at it. He's pretty good at these things. So and they have their kid there. They're sleeping in their RV, camping in the parking lot with their child. And so when she goes to get Matt, she has to stay with the kid.
Mhm.
So I feel super bad because now she's missing out on stuff because of me. And so Matt comes, he grabs his heat gun too because he has his full trailer and everything. So he's trying to give it some heat. Oh, just a mess. It took like over an hour. We finally like get it started, just running it without the computer plugged in, seemed like it was working. Which wasn't that great because then I can't see what the temperature of the machine is or if the check engine light comes on, what my gas level's at. Not the like ideal situation, but I didn't know exactly if that was the main problem. Like, so the day starts out almost 2 hours like late pretty much from all these, and then my radio, I couldn't get my radio set correctly, and I was just feeling so flustered because I usually am the person who's very prepared for trips and classes and anything. I mean, like the week before a trip, I'm like packing, like doing
Yeah.
all my laundry, everything's folded and organized in my bag like perfectly. And in courses, like I've gone over the manuals, I've done whatever I need to do before it, I've made sure everything works. So I was just like, whoa, I'm way out of my comfort zone because I'm not prepared, and I hate being this person, even though I have so much, like, empathy and stuff for people who are, shit happens. This is stuff out of my control.
Totally.
Um, and if it were to have happened to someone else, I would not be holding anything against them.
Or if it happened like out there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So, but I just hated being that person. Like, I'm like, wow, I feel like I shouldn't fucking be here because I I don't have a clue what's going on. Like I said, the snowmobile started just fine. Andrew rode it all day Thursday, which again may be where the problem came from, is that there was moisture in there and it didn't get the chance to dry out. But then again, it's like, well, it's a fucking snowmobile. So like why? I don't know. It's just weird shit. So anyway, Friday ended up, it went well after everything got started. Never had a problem again. We go out.
Fabulous.
Yeah, that was like our avalanche education day, as far as like we practiced burial scenarios. Um,
How
and
was that? How did you feel about that?
good. Because so I've taken a handful of avalanche courses. I took so they're often referred to as AIRI courses. That's like the Avalanche Institute of Education, something something. I always forget them all. There's a lot of letters in AIRI. Um, and I took my first one in 2015 through like Tahoe Community College. I started to go to school there for wilderness education so that I could take these
Sick,
courses.
dude.
Yeah, because when at that time doing it through the school, I mean I had FAFSA, so it was paid for, because these courses on their own can be like 400, upwards of $400 for sure for most of them, which is what was incredible about this course being put on by Sierra Avalanche Center. All the motorized classes are free. It's insane. And so, and especially like, yeah, 3 day full on course. So I took my first one in 2015, and then since then, like four at least other courses. I took one up and the other one I went to Utah for. Again, it was like a women's thing. One was at Crystal, a women's thing, and they weren't technically like the certifications, but more like awareness and refreshers. So I was really happy with those ones because they were pretty much the same exact education and everything I learned in my actual certification. You just didn't get a certificate at the end of it. And maybe some parts weren't in depth as others, but and then I did take a motorized like rescue class a couple years ago through the same like Avalanche Center here in Tahoe. That was free, and so you touch on all that. So pretty much every other year at least or something I've taken a course. So I feel pretty good in, especially when it's in a course, things go pretty like do this is what you do, this is what you do, like perfectly lined up. So I felt good in that, in the search. And what I was worried about with the snowmobile though is like you're going to be now getting on the snowmobile and going up to a point and then searching from there. And so I was like, oh god, this is where like in my motorized, the other class, when we were doing that part, I mean that time I was really new on a snowmobile and the conditions weren't that great. But I got stuck. And so like yeah, that's your worry of like, okay, I'm gonna try and get up there, but I'm just gonna be in a frantic mode that I'm gonna get my snowmobile stuck. And we were kind of talking about that. So of course, me and my friend Tess, she's also my neighbor, and uh yeah, neighbor up here at the property. They moved out here last year as well. But so we're talking about it, and her and I are partners going up on our search, and she fucking gets stuck as we go up the hill and turn this corner through some trees. And but again, super like it didn't matter. She wasn't in a spot that was like dangerous or caused any harm. It was actually like a pretty good practice scenario to be like, oh, what happens? Yeah, she's like, I'm stuck, and I like radio her. I'm like, cool, leave your sled there, hop off, just pull out your beacon, you start the beacon search, and I'll pull mine out too. Whoever gets a reading first, like we'll just go from there. And so she hops off, she pulls out her beacon, starts searching, and she did end up getting a number showing up on her beacon first. So I stow mine and I just get my other equipment out. So she comes from one direction and I come from the other basically. And we had that discussion afterwards about how, like, yeah, that was actually kind of a good thing to see. Like, yeah, things aren't going to go perfect. So this is how we pivoted and made it work. So it was good. And digging for avalanche burial in conditions that are like perfect is even like exhausting, because what they did was they took a beacon and they put it in a bag and then buried that bag, and so and it was like a couple feet deep, so we were digging that out, and then you have to think about if you were actually digging an avalanche, the debris is like cement,
Yeah.
and very hard to get through, so or it just
Not to
always puts
mention
it in
like
perspective.
baby whole trees.
Yeah. Yeah. And 6 feet
Yeah.
under or something, not like a meter and a half. So yeah, that was good and great. Friday was pretty darn cold. It was in the 20s. But we had some sun, and so it wasn't too bad. But as we got to this part of the day, the sun started to dip down behind the mountain where we were, so it started to get a bit cold. Saturday though was -4 when
Damn,
we
dog.
yeah, when we started in the morning,
I
but snowmobile started up fine, like still didn't have the screen working, but was running and whatnot. And Saturday was good. Tess and I both had some good stucks. Like we got to play up on this just hillside, and yeah, we both got stuck for a good amount of time and had some people helping dig us out. But it was really cool because this course, I had no idea what to expect, if it was going to be like all education and not a lot of writing, or what it would entail. But we got a great balance, honestly. Not a fair amount, but a really good balance of writing and then in the avalanche education stuff. And that's what it's about too. I mean, overall education, we're learning to be better riders, gauge where we're going in terrain. And all these women who are around, there's two instructors and then another gal, Kate, who was pretty much like support. She was always the sweep, and I called her the stuck doctor. She had a PhD in stucks. Like, she'd always be the one saving people and just telling you how to get out, because there can be technique to getting a 500+ pound machine that's stuck in the snow out. So she was really super awesome and helpful. So we got to learn some techniques instead of just calling Andrew or Ryan, which is Tess's boyfriend, and be like, because we normally go out with just them. It's me, her, and Andrew and Ryan a lot of times when we can all go out together. So if we get stuck, like, they're right there with us and they're pretty much getting it out for us, or it's like an easy thing. So it was nice to be on our own and learn some techniques that work a little bit better for us to get out of those situations.
yeah.
But again, I was like sitting there like, okay, now I feel really bad because I'm really fucking stuck and we're taking a lot of time to get out of here. We were supposed to just like have 5 minutes to go play, which ended up being a lot longer, and people are waiting for us. But the
Oopsie.
group was so chill and the instructors were so helpful, and it was just really nice to be around, because I get in my head, like I said, a lot about that stuff and being that person.
Yeah.
um and to have everyone's like assurance basically of like, nope, this is cool, we're good. It felt really,
Just
really
create a
nice.
safe space for you to learn,
Yeah, exactly.
which is what those things should be in the first place. But it just depends on like who's coming and what fucking baggage they're bringing with them, you know?
Absolutely, because you never know, or you might have those people who are like very to the book, don't have adaptability, or are expecting this and this out of it, and you just can't have those expectations in something like this, because it's a level one. It's a, like I said, you have no idea what people's writing capabilities are supposed or could be, because technically what they say in like the requirement is like being able to comfortably ride off trail. But again, what is off trail to you versus
Yeah.
me? This
Like, are we
so
talking cat tracks or are we talking hillsides with trees, boys?
yeah, and so and again, just depending on the machines people have, how much power, like yeah, what are you going to be able to navigate? Um so I had no expectations, and I don't think anyone else really did either. I mean, there may have been times that people got a little bit frustrated at situations, but I mean, where we went on this hillside, I was concerned a little bit of like, oh, I hope I don't get stuck, but I didn't feel like I was doing anything like way out of my ability, that I was like purposely putting people at risk or at a like in a situation that would make them wait. Like so yeah, I don't feel like I was making like stupid choices, and I was actually taking them instead of like, sometimes I'll be afraid like, oh, I don't want to be that person, so I'm not gonna go up there. I'm not gonna go ride that, because what if I do get stuck? And it's like, well, this is my chance to try to do this, to make sure I can, because we hadn't gotten that terrain yet. We'd been out in a meadow and had some fun, but we hadn't really gotten to like hill climb, and that's what snowmobiles are for. That's what the fun is. Like, this is the only thing I like going uphill on, is on a snowmobile. I don't like walking or running uphill, like skiing uphill. But snowmobiling, like the uphill is the where the fucking shit is. That
Yeah,
is
boy,
that
scrap, right?
yeah,
Scrap.
yes. So I was like, fuck yes. So
Uh,
yep, Saturday ended up being good, warmed up. It was like 40 degrees, got hot. Definitely got sunburnt. Um, Sunday, the
son,
snowmobile didn't start again.
mother bitch.
Plug the
Listen,
screen.
you have like a newer machine, right?
Yeah, yes.
So it's not
So
like you're showing up with something that's like 20 years old and like hanging on by a fucking thread.
yeah, there was a
No.
girl who did. Not that old, not that old, but her machine was older than others.
Yes.
And she showed up Friday, found us in the meadow. Some guys like roll up. They're like, "Is this the women's like level one?" Or like, "Yeah." They're like, "Oh, we got one for you," because the way she had come, the road ended up being closed, and she had to like turn around, go all the way back. And we were just so impressed that she found us. And actually, Tess and I talked like that night. I was like, as much as I hate having had held people up for so long, if we wouldn't have, you know, been an hour behind, Stephanie would have never fucking found us probably. Like,
Stephanie.
so and she had driven from Fresno, California, which was an
Damn,
8-hour
bitch,
drive. So
she's like a ride or die.
yeah, she left at 3:30 that morning to get there, and then had to go around. And so yeah, her snowmobile was like the oldest one out there. Again, I don't know exactly how old, just because I mean the machines in the last couple of years, they just are so powerful. It makes such a huge difference. And
Wild.
I was like, dude, if I would have rolled up on that group late and seen everyone like with their newer snowmobiles and all the shit, like looking the part, I would have been so intimidated and probably like, oh yeah, never mind, not me. I'm gonna keep going. But she rallied that fucking thing, and it was just great, awesome to see her like learning and everybody learning. But
Yeah.
so yeah, Sunday, at least it's on the truck when it didn't start. So I was like, okay, we don't have to figure out how the fuck we're gonna load it up. Like I was thinking Friday. But by Sunday, so I plugged the computer back in. Screen's working just fine, but still not starting or anything. And I'm like so close to fucking tears, because I'm like, it's the last day. One, I'm tired.
Yeah.
Two, like I just want to fucking get through this day. And why is this not working for me? It's had no problems all year. So what is going on now? Like I again just thinking to myself, like, because I was so worried about stuff going wrong, that I'm like, oh, I put it out there into the universe that things are gonna go wrong. Like I fucking caused this. I manifested it. Um, but we changed the spark plug slash Tasha, the instructor who's the Polaris ambassador, changed the spark plugs, and it started right up.
Have to have those things on hand? Like, do you just
Yes.
have to have like spark plugs, fucking belts?
Mm-hmm.
What else? What you have to have like tools and stuff? Like, you have to have
Yeah.
so much. Fine.
Absolutely. Andrew keeps two full like kits of tools, and in the snowmobiles, like in the hood, there's a place where you keep a spare belt, and it also has a tool for the spark plugs. It's not much to be able to remove them. You just use that tool. It's just like a deep socket pretty much, and go straight in and get those pull those spark plugs right out, and you should have spare spark plugs on you like all the time. So super easy. And I mean, my friend Tess knows how to do that too. She was starting to get in there and do it, but since it was again getting to time of like starting the class, Tasha was like, go, I'll do this. Um and we went ahead and had our like morning discussion of the class, and yeah, started right up. And then no problems after that. Saturday, no, it was Friday, later Friday in the afternoon, actually, one of the other instructors we had to change ended up changing her spark plugs while out there. Um, so and then Tasha Sunday, her snowmobile didn't start while we were on top of this ridge with like crazy wind starting to blow, and it wasn't starting, and we finally got it started without having to like do anything. It just like took three of us to like pull it,
Yeah.
just taking turns pulling. I don't know if it was just cold and not like needed a lot of power to pull start. I'm not sure, but um yeah, so Sunday when we went out, we went deeper than the other days, and we got to this meadow that pretty much had like untouched snow. It was two dudes that ended up like following us or something. I don't know. They got in the meadow before us, but there was still plenty of snow to be had. And we were just shocked because the snow park is quite big, huge.
Yeah. Like
But it was full of people.
Bavarian.
But like people don't ride off trail a lot in that spot. It seemed like they're like trail riding or going out to ski or snowboard. So I was just shocked that we made it to that zone that had all this untouched snow, and it was a like short riding time because I mean we're just exhausted. But so
Yeah,
fucking
three
fun. Like
days.
the funnest like riding that I had because I felt like we had a big area where we could go up, like climb a little, go through some trees, go through the meadow, like kind of do a little bit of all of it
Yeah.
without many consequences. Like I wasn't worried about like getting stuck on Sunday like I was Saturday. So it was just the best. And over 3 days, I mean, just like I got a lot more confident in my writing because that was the most writing I'd been able to do consecutively. Because like I said,
All
we'd
by
go out,
yourself.
yep, we'd go out for a day and it'd be like a couple hours because I'd be tired, and then it would be a while before we could make it out again because also living in town where we'd have to load up the snowmobiles and go to a destination,
Yeah.
it's just a whole nother thing to think about. And now being here at the property, like just being able to get on the snowmobile at the door and ride down the road, like I can just go straight over to Tessa's and get her or like meet her in the meadow. And so and now our Emily, who I like hopefully a new friend of ours to ride with, is just down the road. And so yeah, just meeting all these ladies to ride with, again, all different abilities, but that's exactly what I said in the last podcast of wanting to meet more people and women to ride with who are at like the either like the same level that we could progress together, or the people who are going to push me, they're a little bit better and I can like learn from them. And like I said, plus the ones to progress together, even the ones who are like better than me, like they're going to progress too, so we're still progressing together, maybe at different speeds, but they're all so fucking rad and supportive. And every time someone got stuck, you're all like just there, like pulling up, like, oh, do you need help? Do you need help with this? Like, need an extra shovel? Need an extra push over when you just tip? It just became unspoken. Like barely had to, really radio call anyone, especially when we're all in sight. It's just like four people like roll up, like, okay, let's tip this sled over. It
Yeah.
was so it was awesome. And
Oh yeah,
just
cheers to that, dude.
yeah, yes. Cheers, cheers. There it is, my hot whiskey drink. Um, we stayed in this little hotel that actually ran out of hot water Saturday night, and Sunday we were so cold Sunday. Sunday was like in the 20s again, but it was also a little more cloudy and windy, so it like we were fucking freezing by the end of the day. Um, and then had no hot water, but we cranked the heat in we were telling the people like, well, we both live in trailers, like,
Yeah.
so we know how it goes to like have run out of heat or water or whatever. But she's like, oh, where do you guys probably are gonna leave early so you can go home and take a hot shower. I'm like, no, you don't understand. Like, we don't have hot showers at home. She's like, where do you do that? And Tess is like, here, we come here for that. Like, we come to hotels for hot showers. They felt so bad. But we ended up going to the hot springs the next day, like a resort hot spring. So it was like just pools, little hot tub and pools that were hot springs, not
Hell
like a
yeah.
natural hot spring. But
Woo!
yeah, chilled in there and got to and took some showers and whatever. So that was good. But it
Ooh,
was
hot
just,
springs sound noise
I know we
though.
tried to go to another hot spring, but it was closed from like the fires and mudslides and a bunch just natural shit closing the springs off or something, that they're not up and running right now. Um but yeah,
Yeah.
it was really
How
cool
do
to
you
get to hang out with my friend Tess too, because we've never gotten to hang out like in that kind of way. It's just like,
yeah.
yeah, going out snowmobiling or out at the bar, dinner, restaurant, whatever. We've gone floating together. But uh it's been a long time since I've just spent like 3 days with someone who wasn't like Hillary or you or something, you know? So I was like, oh yeah, it's like, it's not a new friend by any means, but again, we hadn't gotten to connect on that level. And we're both just so fucking amped and fired up to keep riding. And so I'm just so glad to have her as a riding buddy and stuff.
That's awesome. I was gonna say California has been getting hammered with moisture, like the most moisture it's needed, but like so in such a condensed amount of time.
Yeah.
It's really been wild, and I hope that that happens more often because y'all need a lot more water for things to be kosher again.
Yeah, there was a picture I saw of I think Shasta. I don't know if it's Shasta Lake or if it's a reservoir or what, but it showed the water level from like just weeks of difference, and it a huge feet. And I mean, feet of a difference is millions of gallons of water. So I was
The
like, okay, good.
problem with all the rain you guys have been getting is that your soil is so depleted of water that it just created like the soil can't absorb it. Like there's like this bond situation in water when soil gets like super dehydrated that it just like can't soak into the soil. So thus, when you guys do get a lot of water on your depleted soil, it just makes it all rush move down and it erodes the soil essentially.
Wow, my mind's blown right now.
Yeah.
I had no idea. I thought it,
And that's why like when you look at those like aerial photos, all the water is brown because it's like picked up all this.
right.
It's yeah,
Wow. Well,
bro, water. It's like the coolest thing on our friggin'
yes. That's why
planet.
you study it.
Yeah, I'm gonna.
Yeah, 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 totally.
And that
Wow,
way
that's
I could be
crazy.
like, oh, the whatever. I don't know. I would be like, just let me be a hydrologist for Noah
Yeah, totally. That's
or
awesome.
USGS if you're listening.
Yes, yes. Hire me, please.
You
That's
know,
awesome.
more of a person. Which also, I feel like at our ages that we're at right now, we're kind of midlife right now. Would you say?
I don't know. I guess.
Like,
I guess it depends. Well, I think that happens usually more around like 40 to 45. I feel like is when people really start to kind of, you have like the midlife crisis.
yeah,
I think in our 30s we're still pretty safe, but from that, but it all depends, right? Who knows? You really don't fucking know when your midlife is, honestly.
really don't.
Could be 50, could be
40.
20. I mean, that sucks, but like, just don't know. I guess I just feel like you feel it when you're gonna feel it when you feel it. Right now, I feel like not midlife, but
In the
just
thick of the 30s.
yeah, yeah, exactly. Because like you have your quarter life crisis at like 25 or something, right? And now it's just like, then I just think it goes on until your midlife. It's just a
It's just a
15 years of
continual
crisis.
process.
Yeah, totally. Just still going on.
No,
Still don't know what I want to do, where I want to be. No.
I think you're
Um,
I think you're doing great, dude.
thank you. I think
Just as
so.
long as we like truly make a plan to hang out this summer down in Cabo.
Absolutely. You have to come. You have to come. And that's
Max,
100%, maybe even for spring break, because if the snow keeps up, then we'll at least be able to have some good snow adventures too.
early April.
Yeah.
Like
Yep.
the first week of April.
Absolutely. Yeah, so just a great weekend of connection and education, and it was wonderful. And I'm actually then this weekend coming up. So it's Wednesday now. So Friday or Saturday and Sunday I'll be in Sacramento for another course, but it's towards my personal training because I've got to take continuing education credits to keep my personal training certification up to date and whatnot. And this course I've wanted to take since 2020. I started following this gal, Carrie Williams, who is like an Olympic level boxing coach. And she has a company called Boxing and Barbells. And so she would do classes that were like shadow boxing or punching bags and lifting weights. So I really liked that cardio and like strength training mix that she had. Um, and it hadn't worked out to get to a live class. She offers them online. I just didn't feel like I really wanted this class to be an in-person class, especially with like boxing technique. I don't know shit about boxing, and I work so much better in person. So I was really happy to be able to take this one coming up in Sacramento, and she's like from Sacramento too. So it'll be like her hometown. And yeah, that's technically it's two courses, a level 1 and level 2. Um and I've wanted to teach this class like in a gym or something. And I don't know. I'm like, maybe after I get certified, I'll want to see if I can teach it at a gym or whatnot, or like small group classes, like even if it's at the park or something. I don't know. I think it's something people would be interested in. Boxing is having a moment right now, I feel like,
Yeah.
in the fitness, like in the mainstream fitness world, because okay, obviously like Peloton has their shadow boxing classes, even the studio I've taught at Live, who teaches the Les Mills program, um, they do a body combat class, which is kind of kickboxy, a bunch of martial arts like mixed together. They've been doing that a while, but still, I'm like, yeah, people would be into it. So yep, just learning. All of January is like learning.
That's great.
Yeah.
Learning is awesome. I think I might learn how to sell houses.
Yeah. We talked about this when you started with the property management job in the first place, right? Of like, okay, maybe this could take you into realty, and how would that look?
I think I'm actually going to do it. I just needed to think about it for an entire month before I did actually do the thing because
Oh,
I just do that as a person.
no, but
But
absolutely. And as you should, it was like how what I do is go from again like 0 to 60, where I'm like, oh, I could do this, and then I'm like, this is such a great idea, and then I do the thing, and I'm like, oh, this fucking sucks. And so I think it was like really good for you. You didn't know have any experience in that industry at all, so to be able to like take the time you have doing your role in the property management company and learning a little bit more about the industry as a whole, will probably it will make you make a more educated decision about getting more involved in the industry, instead of where I am like, oh, I think I'm gonna go be a fucking, neuroscientist now
yeah,
and just enroll into school and start doing something that I've never even like really tested out. You got a little more smarts about that than I do.
or like zero execution. It just depends on the freaking day.
Yeah, yeah, either way, right?
Oh my gosh. We have a little visitor.
I see that. What are you doing, Quincy?
He's being ridiculous, but this is just life with the things that you love.
Yes,
He has a cute
absolutely.
laugh.
Yes, he does. I'm surprised. Well, I have my headphones on, so I can't really tell if the dogs have been like whining at the door because I actually shut the bedroom door
Yeah.
tonight.
Good
Um,
job, Mom. Good job, Mom. I did too, but mine has
you
a
can yours
total
can open it. Yeah,
yeah.
exactly. Mine could probably do it because it's just a latch handle, you know. I did tell Andrew like if they start whining like crazy, you know, you can let them in, but since I'm in the room and set up on the bed, I just didn't want to deal with like the bouncing around, throwing the computer um off the
She's
bed or
taking a
microphone off.
video.
He's taking a video. Oh my God.
The
It kind
recording
of looks like I
the
have a cute hairdo with my hair pulled back, but really it's just a mohawk strand tucked into my headphone on accident.
I bathed myself before this, which is a rare occurrence.
I think I did it yesterday. I bathed yesterday. Yeah. I had a wrestling practice. I haven't been able to make it to wrestling like most of this month. I got to go yesterday and ended up practicing with this kid like all the whole time almost. I'm like, I am not in condition to be able to do this. I'm like a little bit sore for sure, my neck. And he was a sweatiest high school kid. I'm just like, ugh, ugh. Like I literally feel so gross after like touching those sweaty kids sometimes. I'm like, how the hell did I do this
Yeah.
as a
Well,
sport myself? Because now I'm just like so disgusted with it and like get me to the shower
yes,
now.
yes.
So
Other people's fluids freak me to fuck
oh
out.
yeah, absolutely.
I know.
Absolutely.
Sometimes, like, I have to blow dry my hair now to look like a person
Oh yeah.
because I have to.
Yeah.
And I'm like afraid of getting it wet
Yes. Yep. Yeah. I know what that. Well, when I do blow dry it,
or
I'm afraid
straighten
of
it.
getting it wet because if I blow dry it, I have to straighten it.
Yeah.
And then yeah, any little moisture it starts to go crazy, which is like fine, but it's just like, well, now it's gonna be half tamed and half not, so it just looks stupid. Um, so yeah, once it's been blow dried and straightened, I'm like do not get it
Yeah.
wet, steamy, anything. Don't touch me. But
What's going on in your life in this coming week? You've got your physical
the personal training, yeah. So
training.
I've worked in the shop today, I work tomorrow and Friday, and then Saturday I go to Sacramento. I'll be there all day Saturday and Sunday to do this 2-day boxing and barbells course. So that's awesome. I'm hoping to be a little more prepared for that.
I'm sure you
Considering
will. I'm
I
sure you
yes,
will. Get it in
I've
your head. You will.
I've got some more of the manuals to read. I didn't start reading it really like when I should have because there's some stuff that I should know, which I think I will, like just like combinations, like boxing and punching combinations. Um, I think I'll know them enough before the class that like I can hopefully have the hang of them, and then obviously with the professional instruction like be able to fine tune them. Like I think I'll be able to do like the best that I can do without fucking having someone telling me how to fix it. I think I'll be all right. I
Yeah.
hope so. I got to get a hotel still. But I'm trying to use some credit card points, and I have to use that credit card to like use the points because I don't have enough points to cover it, and like so
Yeah.
I'm waiting for a payment to go through on that to be able to use it again.
Yeah. 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 As we do with our
Yeah,
finances,
totally. Just
it's
ping pong, move this here,
juggling
here, here. Yeah.
game. Yeah.
But
Or more
yeah,
like chess. It's more like chess or like something like that, you
yeah, totally. And then after that, things calm down. I know February is looking pretty quiet. Hopefully, we have some snow in the forecast and 2 snowmobiles, and I can start going out again before I, feel like I forgot everything I learned or something and lose my
Yeah.
little fire. And then also, so this is totally random off subject. Well, kind of has to do a little bit with health and wellness, but I became an ambassador for this company called Ned, which you'll have to look up, and I'll also put in the show notes because you get a little discount if you use my link and or discount code. But Ned has like CBD products like oils or rubs and like powders to like mix into drinks before bed or whatnot. And I'm really excited about that. I haven't gotten my mellow blend yet, which has a bunch of
Ooh.
magnesium and will help with just like sleep and recovery and all that. And I'm just really, really stoked to have another something like that fits in with my lifestyle to hopefully better my health and wellness in a nice and natural way. So as things go on with it and I get my product and whatnot, I can't wait to share more about it. But I'm just so stoked because
That's
I've
awesome.
wanted to try some more CBD mixes for bedtime and sleepy and recovery
Yeah.
and whatnot. So
Um, Quincy wanted to say that one of our chickens' name is Ned.
That's our only
oh,
chicken's name.
Yeah.
that's awesome. I was gonna
Oh,
say, are you about to say you named one Taryn?
not yet, but maybe.
Bye.
Um, is it NEDD or just NED?
NED.
Nice.
NED. Um, and actually, I feel like I'm gonna type in the website real quick because I think it's helloned.com.
Okay.
Yep, helloned.com. And like so I'll put the link in the show notes and whatnot too, because with my code and whether you I think you can if you just click the link, the discount might automatically be there, but otherwise it's easy. It's TKO Fit, TKOFIT, and you get 15% off. And which those can just add up for sure, because these things can well, if you're buying multiple products, it can be a lot in one shot. So then that 15% off always helps. So I actually heard about this from another podcast too that I listen to religiously, and they're just like such good fans, and I've or big fans of it, and they use all the products themselves, and they've had the CEOs and owners, founders, all that on their podcast a couple of times, so I've like listened to those and how they started and came about. So it was really shocked, honestly, when they actually emailed me back and welcomed me on the ambassador team. It's like, wow, I'm just a little nobody here, like with 600 followers on
Yeah.
my business account. So that's shocking.
What podcast?
It's called This Joy and Claire. I think I've sent you the link from them before. Yeah. They're just a couple of ladies that chat. They keep it pretty clean, talk about some pop culture sometimes, and random shit just like this. Which is honestly what helped me motivate me to actually start, because I didn't podcast for so long because I felt like I didn't have a
Form or
yeah,
like
or like a subject matter to always stick to. Like I didn't have like, am I gonna talk about this or that, or like what category am I gonna be in? And finally, after years of listening to podcasts and loving podcasts that are just two people talking, I'm like, oh, why don't I just start it and then figure it out? So
exactly. I think we're going about it good.
yeah, because they started out with a podcast called Girls Gone WOD, when WOD stands for Workout of the Day. They were CrossFitters. So
Yeah.
they talked a lot about just like fitness and nutrition mostly and stuff like that, and had a lot of guests on in that. And then they started to kind of divert a little bit. And that's when they decided they were going to rebrand and just say, this is Joy and Claire. And then they just talk about whatever the fuck they want to. And I'm like, yeah, that's great, because why should you have to stick to one thing and one thing only? It works for some people and that's great. But doesn't we all know that sticking to one thing does not work for me. So
And a lot of people.
yeah. But anyway, so what's up with you? How's life? What's going down? What do you got coming up?
Everything, always, all the time. I was gonna say some podcasts that I've been listening to is Hidden Brain, Timber Wars, and then this podcast that's of local beer scene here in Tacoma. One of my bosses is on the podcast, and it's called Grit and Grain Podcast.
Oh,
And it's really cute because there's just like a lot of people within the beer community that I know that have been on it. Like this gal that I used to work with named Bethany, who brewed beer and then started like a tap cleaning business with her husband. And yeah,
that's awesome.
yeah, as far as like what's been going on in my life, those are the podcasts I've been listening to.
Yeah.
We need to have, oh my gosh, I feel so bad because I'm drawing a blank on her name, but that one woman that we had on,
Tammy with the Outspring.
yes,
Yeah.
yes, yeah, we need to have her back on here.
I know. I was thinking about her the other day, because she posted something, and I was like, okay, I gotta look at the calendar too and figure out when we're gonna have her on again with an update. I don't know if she has a lot of new uh things for a meeting with the Outspring event or whatnot, but I've got to get in her inbox
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
figure out when might be a good time, whether that's a month out, 2 months out, whatever, however we want to do it, when she thinks that she'll want to share more of what's happening with the event and whatnot, because it can just, like I said, time flies, right? So that was the beginning, or I guess halfway through December 11th, it sticks out to my mind for some reason. But so been a little bit over a month. And
Yeah.
so I think it will probably be another little bit of time before we have her back on with an update, but never know. Like I gotta reach out to her and see, because if she might be on the roll and things might be moving along with
Yeah.
planning that event. So I gotta, yeah, hit her up for sure. And I have like just adding more and more people to my list. I mean, I want to reach out to the gal Carrie, who is doing the course I'm doing this weekend. And I'd love to talk to her and about her journey being like a like woman boxing coach, not women's boxing coach. She
Yeah.
coaches everybody. So, but her experience in being a top level boxing coach as a woman and then starting gyms, companies, doing all this. I would also love to have the gals who did my snowmobiling course this weekend, because they're just absolutely amazing. Tasha, I think, was the actually first and only board member of Sierra Avalanche Center that was motorized.
Bad bitch.
So let alone like woman, but like the
Love me
only
first.
motorized representative on the board. And yeah, now I think there's a couple more, but said she's out there now. We were the also, by the way, this was the first women's only motorized level one class in Tahoe.
What?
So yeah, it was amazing. And so that means hopefully next year they're able to offer more than just the one, and then maybe a level two, because there is just something totally different about it being all women. I've
100%.
like I said, I've taken
The parking
multiple.
lot fucking knew it.
Yeah, yep, I've taken multiple like avalanche classes, and some have been co-ed, some have not been, and there's just a big difference. I mean, I was telling Andrew like the end of Sunday when we're all chatting around the circle, kind of debriefing the entire weekend, like multiple people just like tears. I mean, I almost cried saying something, and I'm like, okay, it's just like you just don't get that in a regular class, because there was so much more than just like, oh yeah, cool, I learned a lot and it was a lot of fun. It was like just fucking real ass connections being
Yeah.
made, and that shit is just
Woo!
touching, just
Fuck
touching.
yeah,
Just
man.
to
And
like feel real fucking good about yourself, the people around you. It was just like there's just no way to explain it.
yeah,
So I was just like, this is so great to wrap it up with like everyone just being choked up pretty much, of like can't explain anything about this weekend except for it was fucking magic.
yeah. Pure connection right there.
Yep, pure connection, pure magic. It was great. But so yeah, I want to reach out to her and see if she'd want to come on and chat about her journey in the snowmobiling world and community, and how she's come to where she is with teaching courses. Again, not she's not just teaching women's courses, she teaches all sorts of people, kids and adults and whatnot. But we often in these industries, like the outdoor industry, fitness, and that, as ladies, your road looks like just how it is. It looks different a lot than it does for men, and it's just inspiring to hear stories. Sometimes, yeah, people walk in, they had no adversity to it. As a woman, they don't feel like they noticed anything different. And guess what? That's great. I still want to fucking hear what your experience was.
Yeah, for sure.
Like, I hope you didn't have to deal with a bunch of shit and prove yourself and do 10 times the work because you are a tiny little woman.
Yeah,
But if you didn't have to, awesome. If you did, awesome. Like I said, I want to fucking hear it, because it's also good to know that you might not have to fucking fight tooth and nail through everything to get to where you want.
Or to feel like what you're doing right now is for all women.
Yeah. Yep. So yeah, hope to get in those ladies' ears after this weekend. I think then I can get back on the horn of getting out and getting some stuff scheduled, with my schedule not being as hopefully crazy, and wrestling for the high school's winding down a little bit too, and I don't know, just might feel like I'm not doing 900 things.
Yeah. Shit,
But well, I better check in and see what's kind of going on for dinner here now. It's 8:30. And hold up, Andrew probably, well, hopefully, I don't know if you waited for me or not, but was gonna try and cut out of here early, but of course we always chat a little bit on the like before, and that's always nice too. So
nice.
yeah. Well, anything before we close out that you want to add? I feel like I really made this all about me.
No, that's fine. You were doing more exciting things than I am. I'm just kind of like chugging along and doing the day to day. So
It happens. It happens. That's what I feel like again next month's gonna be for me. This one is just, I don't know how all this stuff happened. But it ended up being a crazy month, but of good stuff. So I'm like, okay, that's better than like December was just crazy from holidays.
Learn in January.
Yep. Yeah.
Leveling up.
Yes.
Leveling up January.
Okay, well, I really, really fucking hope that we can like talk next week sometime, and I can catch you up on this boxing and barbells course, and we don't go 3 weeks. So yeah, we'll try really hard, try our best to get back on that weekly, at most like bi-weekly schedule, and stick to that as best we can so that you guys remember to listen to us. All right. Well, internet world, we out. And like I said, hopefully talk to you in less than 3 weeks.
Hopefully. Bye.
Bye. We hope you enjoyed this episode and would do us a huge favor, since we don't have any sponsors or anything like that, and would rate and review us on whatever platform it is you use, Spotify, Apple, Stitcher, whatever it is. And if you're listening and downloading just through the website, tearingituppodcast.com, leave comments. We'll definitely engage back with you. And on social media right now, we're just on Instagram. Tearing It Up Podcast is the handle. Like the post, share the post, comment on the post, whatever it is you got. Show us your love so we just stay relevant and show up in the rankings at all. So again, rate and review, please, and we'll see you next time. Thanks.